Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we will doing our grade 8 English lesson on pronouns. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. All right, so we see that we are doing our grade 8 English lesson on pronouns. Once we've selected pronouns, we are going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade 8. Once we have selected grade 8, we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade 8, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of pronouns. All right. So our chapter is pronouns. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And the lessons that we are going to be doing under the chapter of pronouns is to choose between the subject and object pronoun. So we need to choose between the subject and object pronoun. All right. So when it comes to pronouns, right? And choosing between either a subject pronoun or an object pronoun, then you can use a subject pronoun as a subject of a sentence or of a clause. So you can use a subject pronoun as a subject of a sentence or a subject of a clause. And it tells us who is doing something. And usually a subject pronoun is at the beginning of a sentence. All right. So we said that when it comes to a subject pronoun, we can use a subject pronoun as a subject of a sentence and a clause or a clause. And usually you'll find the subject pronoun at the beginning of a sentence. And it tells us who is doing something. All right, so we see that the subject pronoun usually comes at the beginning of a sentence. And when it comes to a subject pronoun, you can also use a subject pronoun after a linking verb. Linking verbs such as am, is, are, was, were, or be. And when it comes to our subject pronouns are words like I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. All right. Remember, a pronoun, right, takes the place of a noun. So instead of us, for example, writing down the person's name, we use words like I and you and he and she, it, we, and they. All right. So when it also comes to our pronouns, right, especially the subject pronoun, if we look at an example of how to use a subject pronoun within a sentence, it says, after finishing the experiment. So after finishing the experiment, I showed my teacher the results. So after finishing the experiment, I showed my teacher the results. And if we were to look at that specific sentence, right, our pronoun within the sentence is I. So I is the pronoun within that sentence. That is the subject pronoun. The next one says, yes, it was she who won first place. Yes, it was she who won first place. We need to select the subject pronoun within that sentence. The subject pronoun that tells us who is doing something. All right. And if we look at the next, that second one, it says, yes, it was she who won first place. And then she is our subject pronoun. And she is used after a linking verb, and the linking verb is was. Because remember, we said that some of our subjects, right, or subject pronouns comes after a linking verb. So there we have an example of a sentence where the subject comes after or slightly after our linking verb. All right. Now we have our object pronoun. We already went to subject pronoun and we said subject pronoun, it tells us who is doing something. It is always at the beginning of the sentence. Now we have an object pronoun. And you can use an object pronoun after an action verb. So we can use we can use an object pronoun after an action verb. And you can also use an object pronoun after preposition. And remember, prepositions are more like linking words. And prepositions are words like at, for, of, on, to, or with. So we can use an object pronoun after a preposition. And object pronouns are words like me, it's you, it's him, her, it, us, and them. And subject pronouns you'll find at the beginning of the sentence, or usually at the beginning of the sentence, but object pronouns you won't find at the beginning of the sentence. Unless, for example, you. All right. And if you look at an example of a object pronoun, right? It says, after finishing the experiment, my teacher showed me the results. So, after finishing the experiment, my teacher showed me the results. We need to select the object pronoun within that sentence. The object pronoun. So, after finishing the experiment, my teacher showed me the results. The object pronoun. And if we were to select the object pronoun, then we will say the object pronoun within the sentence is me. Who did they show the results to? They showed it to me. And me is used after an action verb. Here is our action verb, which is showed. The next one says, my teacher showed the results to me. So my teacher showed the results to me. And if we were to select our object pronoun within that sentence, then remember we said me is our object pronoun, and me is used after a preposition. So the preposition is also a linking word. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca, and we're going to choose between subject and object pronoun, as well as to, maybe if we have time, to identify pronouns and the antecedents. All right. If we look if we look at this activity, right? It says the toddler wobbled towards his arms, waving in the air. So the toddler wobbled towards, towards, do we say towards me or do we say towards you with his arms waving in the air? We need to choose the correct option. All right. And if we were to select the correct word that must go in there, the pronoun, then we can say the toddler wobbled toward her with his arms waving in the air. Her. Could have been her or it could have been me, but that is an object pronoun. Right? That's an object pronoun. All right, let's look at the next one. It says, is Diana going to the comic book convention without, do we say without me? Do we say without me or do we say without I? Which one is correct? Without me or without I? So is Diana going to the comic book convention without me or without I? Which one is correct? All right. And if we were to select the pronoun, it says, is Diana going to the comic book convention without me or without I? All right. And if we were to select the correct option, right, then we will say, is Dana going to the comic book convention without me? That is an object pronoun. Object pronoun without me. All right. So me is correct. All right, let's look at the next one. I always rinse the dishes before I put. Do we say we are not referring to the dishes, right? Do we say that I put, I'm going to do this. Oopsie. I'm going to do this because this is where we need to add it. I put, do we say them or do we say I put they? I put them in the dishwasher or I put them in the dishwasher. Them or they. So I always rinse the dishes before I put them in the dishwasher, or I always rinse the dishes before I put they in the dishwasher. Which one is correct? All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, it says, I always rinse the dishes before I put them away. Not they, we put them away. And them refers to the dishes. So them refers to the dishes before we put it in the dishwasher. All right. So now we're going to our test. All right. So now we're on our test, right? And we need to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. We need to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. It says, everyone in the history class had read the document except for he, option one, or except for him, question, and option two. Which one is correct? Everyone read the document except for he, option one, or except for him, option two. All right. And if we were to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence, then we say everyone in the history class had read the document except for. All right, we're going to choose the second one. Yes, well done. The second one is correct, except for him. Well done. And that is an object pronoun. The next one says the toddler wobbled towards. Do we say towards her or the toddler wobbled towards she with his arms waving in the air? All right, so we can say the toddler wobbled towards, to be said towards her or towards she, with his arms waving in the air. Towards her or towards she? Which one is correct? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, we would say the toddler wobbled towards her. Yes, well done. Option one, with his arms waving in the air. So well done. Option one is correct. The next one says, I always rinse the dishes before I put, do we say option one, them in the dishwasher, or option two, they in the dishwasher? All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, we can say, I always rinse the dishes before I put them in the dishwasher. Well done. Option one is correct. The next one says, Bob sat with, do we say sat with we during the department meeting, or Bob sat with us during the department meeting? Which one is correct? Me, option one, or us, sorry, option two? So Bob sat with we during the department meeting, or Bob sat with us during the department meeting. And if we were to, to select the correct answer, then we can say that Bob sat with us during the department meeting. Well done. Yes, well done. Option two is correct. Is Dana going to the comic book convention without I, option one, or without me, option two? Which one is correct? Is It's not Dana, Diana. Is Diana going to the comic book invention without I, option one, or without me, option two? All right. So we can, if we were to choose the correct one, and we need to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. Oh, we said already without me. All right. Are you absolutely certain that it was she, option one, or it was her, option two? Which one is correct? Are you absolutely certain that it was she or that it was her? All right. And if we were to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence, we would say, are you absolutely certain that it was she or that it was her? Which one is correct? She or her? All right. So we need to choose the best pronoun. So are you absolutely certain it was she or are you absolutely certain it was her? Which one is correct? And if we were to select the correct answer or the pronoun, we would say, are you absolutely certain it was her? Option two is, it was she. Usually she is at the beginning of a sentence because it is a subject pronoun. I'm just as lost as you are. I'm just as lost. All right, we're going to the next one. We need to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. While the Richmonds are traveling, do we say them have Ava to care for their dog or they have asked Ava to care for the dog? So while the Richmonds are traveling, them have asked Ava to care for the dog, or do we say they have asked Ava to care for their dog? Which one is correct? And if we were to select the correct option, then we can say they have asked Ava to care for their dog. Well done. right. So now we're going to identify pronouns and the antecedents, right? So we're going to identify the pronoun and the antecedent. A pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun or noun phrase, right? So instead of, for example, writing the person's name, it's like you're just saying she or he or them or they, right? That is a pronoun. We have subject pronoun and we have object pronouns, right? So the noun or noun phrase that the pronoun refers to, we call that the antecedent. That is the noun or noun phrase that the pronoun refers to. We call that the antecedent. For example, Rachel is tired, even though she slept for 10 hours last night. Rachel is tired, even though she slept for 10 hours last night. If we were to identify our noun, right, within that sentence, is Rachel. Rachel is our noun. And the antecedent that refers to Rachel is the pronoun she. So, which means that the noun or the noun phrase that the pronoun refers to, we call that the antecedent. Apparently, Tom and Sarah just landed. Who is picking them up? So, our noun or noun phrase within that sentence, right, is Tom and Sarah. Or Tom and Sarah we would say that Tom and Sarah is the antecedent of the pronoun them, because it's referring to more than one. So Tom and Sarah is the antecedent of them. Let's look at this one. It says, surprisingly, my brother's basketball team won all the games this season. If we were to identify the antecedent is my brother's basketball team. And that is the pronoun of its. It is the pronoun of the antecedent, my brother's basketball team. Because they won all of its game. It refers to the basketball team. They won all their games, its games, right? All right, so now we're going to our test where we're going to identify the pronoun and we're going to identify the antecedent. Some people believe that the seasons are caused by Earth's distance from the sun, but they aren't. Earth's tilt, not its distance from the sun, determines the seasons. We need to select the pronoun whose antecedent is seasons. Is it option one, the seasons, option two, they, which is the seasons, or option three, the seasons? It says, but they aren't. Is it option one, two, or three? And if we were to select our pronoun whose antecedent is season, then we will choose option two. They refers to the seasons. So well done. Option two is correct. The next one says, in the 1700s, Tobacco was so valuable that it was used as currency in many American colonies. So in the 1700s, tobacco was so valuable that it was used as currency in many American colonies. So we say that in the 1700s, tobacco was so valuable that it was used as currency in many American colonies. We now need to select the pronoun whose antecedent is tobacco. Option 1, tobacco. Option 2, it. Option 3, tobaccos. Which one is correct? The pronoun that refers to tobacco. All right. And if we were to select the pronoun whose antecedent is tobacco, then yes, option 2 is correct. It is the pronoun. All right, the last one. It says schooners were once the most important ships in North America, but by 1800s, they were only really used for coastal trade and fishing. All right. And if we were to select the our pronoun whose antecedent is schooners, we would say that schooners were once the most important ships in North America, but by 1800s, they were only really used for coastal trade. And if we were to select the correct option, then yes, option 2, they is correct. Well done. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on pronouns. We went over pronouns, subject pronouns, and object pronouns. All right, subject pronouns you'll mainly find at the beginning of the sentence. Object pronouns comes after an action verb. All right. So now this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade 8, for joining the class and for interacting. You must have a good evening further. Till next time. Goodbye.